guys, welcome back to the Mill Social Talk podcast. Don't forget to follow, share, and let us know what you think about the podcast. Today's a very special show for me. It's going to be I'm going to go ahead and share some of my personal experience with autism. Now we know autism has been a lot of kids in today's society have autism, and I really wanted to share that with you to let you guys know how it affected my life and how I've lived with it, and it's really about my son. So today's a sort of a personal show. So it's going to be very important that, if you have someone that is autistic, depends on what spectrum you are, you want to share this video with them, because I've run into a lot of people who are not aware of what to do, how to go about, and I spent a number of years looking into the program, looking into what it is and how I can get my son some help. And so today it's special because in my career, as I go into different homes, and guys, as a real estate broker, I go into many homes, and I've seen many people with different disability. And when I run into folks with autism, I'm real passionate about what help are you getting? Do you know? Just question them about their journey with autism. And so I've gotten to learn a lot about how other people are being treated with this disease. Mm-hmm. And so so I want to share some of that with you in this session. So it's more of a personal journey over the next 25 minutes. I'm going to try to pack everything into one, and so we can kind of, get started. So as I get started, so my son was born autistic. He was born in 1997. And of course, at that time, it was out there, but it was not really out there as much. And so we didn't know until he got diagnosed at 3 years old. He got diagnosed. So, and by the way, some people don't want to diagnose their children. Yeah. They think that it will be okay. Mm-hmm. So at 3 years old, we realized, okay, there's something wrong here, right? Me and my wife realizes that. So.
And what are the signs?
Well, there's a spectrum of autism.
But at 3 years old, what signs? Because he wasn't.
You realize you're not speaking. They're not as developed as a regular 3-year-old.
Yeah, because at 2 years old, my mom's a nanny, so around 2 years old, they're walking, trying to talk with you, trying to
exactly.
They're babbling a little bit, but they're trying to communicate.
Correct.
So did Leon kind of?
Not that much, okay. And so as parents, when something's wrong, right? You know that. So, of course, me being I tend to be active. I'm very active in my son's life. I said, okay, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Why is he not developing the way he should? Mm-hmm. So, of course, we went through a gamut of different things, and we started figuring out. Went to a couple of doctors, and doctors are like, "Oh, he'll be fine."
The pediatricians.
The pediatricians, yeah. The pediatricians say, "Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be okay." And we went to a couple of people, and as parents, like, okay, something's not right.
Right.
So after going through a couple of pediatricians, we decided, let's get to the bottom of the diagnosis. So we went from doctors to doctors, and finally we met one of the doctors in his, the insurance company, and say, okay. But now, before he got diagnosed, we went through a battery of tests, mm-hmm. and for those of you who are thinking, I mean, you just go to the doctor and you get diagnosed. No, that doesn't happen that way.
Mhm.
You go to the doctor and really get a neurology test, and you get a bunch of different tests. They checked his head to see if there's sparks flying, and I mean, I'm not a medical person, so,
Mhm.
but he went through a battery of tests to make sure to see what's going on.
Mhm.
And for some of you, for those who listen and you have families with autistic or whatever, you know, you know someone with autistic. There's a spectrum where it's where they're really active and
High
we
function.
call it high function, like Asperger,
Mhm.
to a function where whether they're bumping their heads against the wall
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's just there's not one thing with autism. There's high function where they can
Right.
live, they can work, they can
Right.
do all that, and then there's the one where, of course, they can't.
Right.
So you're on the spectrum. So that's what it is. So you got to go through that spectrum, and then we found out what spectrum you are, and then you can decide, okay, this is where he's at.
Mhm.
So, but you really got to get the doctors to diagnose.
Right.
And a neurologist, we had a great neurologist, and we went through a bunch of battery of tests to find out if that's what he has,
Mhm.
because it was important for us to find out,
Right.
and we did that.
Yeah. And so it's not. So what you're saying is not just like a doctor says, "Oh, he has autism. Good luck." It's really.
No.
So let's figure out. Okay, maybe he does have autism, but where in the spectrum is he at?
Where is he
And
at?
So you probably have to do a lot of tests to
We
figure
got a
it out.
battery test to do that.
Mhm.
So we went through that process and got it done. Found out, oh, okay, so you have autism,
Mhm.
and you have to come to grips with that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of parents don't come to grips with that particular thing
Mhm.
that, okay, my son has a disability.
Mhm.
And it's okay, so their son. So you want to go ahead and we did that.
Mhm.
Now, I think where it starts getting crazier, as the life change, you have to, at that age, we found out 3 years old.
Mhm.
So, me having a schedule to schedule my time around him, I made sure that he got as many uh, therapy as possible, and therapy,
Mhm.
and therapy, and therapy, because you got to have that
Mhm.
to kind of, because it depends on where you are on the spectrum. Therapy is great for
Mhm.
kids. So don't be afraid to put your kids in therapy, because it will make their lives better.
Mhm.
And so depends on where they are.
Mhm.
So I remember going through like every week from he was 3 until he was 5.
Mhm.
I think I went to therapy every week.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just, whether it was with drooling, and because he had drooled when he was like 3, but we took care of that, and
Mhm.
because we had great therapists.
So it was like adjusting certain behaviors.
Correct. Like
Okay.
through my wife's insurance, we had
Mhm.
great therapy, and so they did that, and they stopped his drooling. That was big. And then they give us some of the things to do at home, and then some of the therapy was like his feet. He used to walk on his toes, and we
Mhm.
took care of that.
Mhm.
And so you got these things you put their feet in,
Mhm.
and now he walks normal, and
Mhm.
so you can do a lot for your child if you diagnose early and you decide to move forward and get the help that
Mhm.
he or she needs. So we had therapy for therapy for therapy. Like every week I'm at therapy.
Mhm.
But I made it possible because now you're not living for you, you're living for your child.
Right.
So you did that and you did that until he was 5 years old, and then he went through now, and then he went after he became 5. Then he went to school, and then you have what's called a home-based program. But now I want to talk especially about a home-based program. This is something that gets me quite a bit.
Mhm.
Now, if you're a dad or your mom, because a lot of what I find a lot in my search
Mhm.
is a lot of dads don't address these situations,
Mhm.
right? They're like, oh, it can't be my son, can't be my daughter.
Oh
And that happens. So, but what I did, I want to go back up a little bit. When I found out he was the disability, I went to every state organization,
Mm-hmm.
every city organization.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know what to do, what he can get,
Mm-hmm.
what's my responsibility to him. I mean, I searched everywhere. I went downtown to the city of Chicago. I'm like, listen, I got some disability. What do you guys offer?
Mm-hmm.
I called the state. What do you guys offer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to different organizations like, how can you help? How can you help? Because
Right.
you have to.
Right.
So we went through this whole gamut. Me, personally, went through, with my wife, went through this whole gamut, or family went through this whole gamut of what to do, where to go, who to call. And I think if you don't do that, you don't, like you're cheating your kid,
Right.
right?
You're not doing what's right.
You're not doing what's right.
Yeah.
So we went through this whole thing, and so we finally got to the point where I found a thing called P.U.N.S. And I want, if you're in Chicago, I'm sure there's P.U.N.S all over. I mean, I'm not sure what the name of it is called in different parts of the
Mhm.
country, but it's a program for disability, for disabled kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found through my research, what I found out that they were not publicizing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like there, but there's only a few kids on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the state of Illinois created this program to help kids, but it's like,
It's not really out there.
it's not out there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean it's not out there?
You have to go like hunting for
Yeah,
it.
or searching for this thing. So we went. So with my search, I found this program. I'm like, okay. So I called them up. I went to their office like, so what is P.U.N.S? What do you guys do?
Mm-hmm.
And so I made an appointment. Oh, and of course their office is all the way out by the airport. Went out there one evening. My son is disabled. What do you guys do?
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys help? And then we went through what they do, and it's a home base.
Mhm.
So what I was able to do is get him some help.
Mhm.
However, what I want to say is, you'll get the help, but now there's a whole nother battery of exams that you got to go through. Whether it's you're going through the school system, you got to go through a psychologist, another neurologist. You got to go through the state programs, and so me and my wife went through all these things to get to this program where they can help. So we took him everything that they asked us to do.
You did it.
We did,
Mm-hmm.
because you cannot get to the program
Unless you do those things.
unless you do the things.
Yeah.
So, but I was determined that I have to do what's right.
Right.
So we went to get through the program and went to the University of Chicago, and he did his test and his test and his test, and But anyway, we got through all of that, and that's one of the things I want to say. You want to be able, for those who are listening and they have someone with autism, or they have a family with autism, you got to go through the process. So first thing, when we got to the program, they gave us what's called the home-based program,
Mm-hmm.
which is fabulous because as a family, autism is something you live with,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like you don't get a day off.
Right.
You don't get like, oh,
It's your reality. It's,
that's my reality.
right.
So we were able to have someone come into the house,
Mm-hmm.
and if me and my wife want to go to dinner,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can call somebody and say, could you come in for 5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we can go to dinner, and that person has been vetted. They're all.
And this is the home-based program.
It's called a home, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's part of the P.U.N.S program. But this is for kids under 18 years old.
Okay.
And so we could have, and let me tell you, I know friends of mine, people that I'm like, you guys are not a home base? They're like, no, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And so we could have, at least when we want to go out
Mm-hmm.
or has time by ourselves, we can say, hey, can you come in for like 5 hours? and then we can do that.
Mhm.
Even though my son now, of course, he's older, and we all go to dinner together
Right.
because he's older now. But when he's younger and you want to just spend time, quality time with your wife, say
Mhm.
have dinner, what?
Mm-hmm.
So we could have done that. So the home-based program allows us to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? It allows us to,
Kind of do more things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the home-based program allows him to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
and then the bus would pick him up and take him
Mm-hmm.
to camp.
Mm-hmm.
That's all part of the program.
And what,
Yeah.
did he go to a private
No,
program?
regular school.
Okay.
But the home-based program, now, one of the things that the home-based program helps us do, to bring in therapists.
Mm.
So I remember
At a discount or for provided for?
provided for.
Wow.
We had a number of doctors, like specialists,
Mhm.
come into the house, like weekly or bi-weekly,
Mm-hmm.
and give him therapy.
Mhm.
And they were coming to the house. We didn't have to go out.
Mm.
But the home-based program, the Illinois State provided that for us through the program.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we sometimes we have just therapists in the house, and they just kind of working with him and talking to him. And we had speech therapists, and we have occupational therapists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we had physical therapists,
Right.
and all three of them come.
Well, then, quick question: is what are the requirements? Were there any like barriers to entry? Like,
No.
did you have to make a certain income? Was it
No,
only
no,
for...
no, no. That's a great thing. You don't have to make. It's
Mhm.
not about me. It's about him.
Okay.
So we had occupational speech and therapy comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and they sometimes they're all there and they're just working with him and working with him and working with him,
But they work with a number of cases from not just autism, right?
Oh, I don't know, but they work with.
Yeah.
But of course, he was part of the autism program, so they came in. And I'm sure they worked with many different cases,
Mm-hmm.
but they were there for us. They were there for us in order for us to, for him to kind of give the therapy he needs.
Right.
So my son went through a whole,
Mm-hmm.
a gamut of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was good for him, good
Mhm.
for me. And so as he grows up, he's been getting therapy. So the home-based program is great. And if you don't know about the home-based program, please research it. Please go to DHS. The DHS is the organization, I believe, that handles the home-based program. So the home-based program allows us to do all that. Spend some time together, going out, do what we gotta do. Now, as your kid grows up, you'll find out that, and this depends on your income. I'm gonna say for me, I could not get a dime from the state of Illinois.
Mm.
Because as you grew up, they'll say, "Oh, you're making money. You're not making money." But if you depends on your income,
Mhm.
you will not get anything from the state of Illinois. But I want to.
Do you know what the cutoff is? Or?
No, I don't know what the cutoff is.
Okay.
They never. They always. I try to, and I went.
You
to
just
the state-
apply and whether
Yeah, I applied many times. I called a couple of attorneys. Say, "Hey, my kid is autistic. Can I get some
some
help?"
yeah.
And they look at me and like, "No, none for you."
Right.
And so this happens until he was 18, of course.
Right. Right.
But I want to go back to what I think people don't know of the P.U.N.S program, which is home-based program. I'm gonna tell you a story. I met a friend of mine from from the city of Chicago. He was a commissioner for the Water Reclamation District. I'm not gonna say the district, but he's a commissioner. He's the current commissioner as it is, one of the current commissioners. And so walked into his home, and his brother is, autistic. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And, I'm always friendly, and
Right.
and I'm like, and so I'm like, "Hey, so I guess you're in politics, and I imagine that you're in the P.U.N.S program." He looked at me like, "What do you mean?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "You're not." Like, he's like, "What is it?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "You're a politician.
You don't know about the P.U.N.S program.
You should know."
Mm-hmm.
So I, move forward to telling him what that is.
Yeah.
He was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
He picked up his phone, called his office, and said, "You check this out right now, because I know nothing about this.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't I know about
Mm-hmm.
the P.U.N.S program?" Don't know what happened to him, but he went ahead and he walked away from me, called his office, and he was just on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know. And I've run into a lot of I run into many families
Mm-hmm.
who has no concept.
Right.
No concept that this is available.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking into a home in the suburbs and talking to this one girl and talking to her son, and I mean, is he not going to be the first or the last?
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to tell them, you got to research for your kid.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sit back and say, "Oh well," and then you get a Social Security
Right.
for them, and it's $700 or $700 and whatever dollars that
Right.
is, and I mean you will be gone soon.
Right.
Whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
that kid's gonna be behind you.
Yeah.
Who's gonna take care of that kid when you're gone?
Right.
So you got to put your son or daughter in a position that when they're gone, that when you are gone, they're taken care of. And that was my thing. I realized I'm not gonna be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got to take care of him
Mm-hmm.
when I'm gone. He's with me now, and I would never put him anyplace else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the P.U.N.S program allows you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to take care of your kid now and and make sure that that kid is taken care of when you're gone.
And that works side and side with your estate planning, right? You can have that P.U.N.S work with kind of how your estate kind of works.
That's something you got to talk to your attorney about,
Okay.
right? But the P.U.N.S program, I want to say, is great for just making sure that your son or daughter is taken care of while you're not here,
Right.
or if you don't have to be here. So the beauty about the program is, if you follow the guidelines by the state of Illinois, you will not have a problem. If you follow the guidelines and they tell you to do something and you do that thing, you won't have a problem. Now, fast forward as my son grows up, the P.U.N.S programs allows him to go to a day program.
Mm-hmm.
Now, very important, as you grow up and he or she becomes an adult, I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and this is kind of really bad, I've seen a lot of children don't leave the house,
Right.
right? Because their parents never prepared for them early,
Mm-hmm.
or because their parents never got into a program, or their parents didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of kids stay home 24/7, 365, and they just there.
House cat kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's sad. So the P.U.N.S, I'm going to say, if you have a child that's, register, call the state of Illinois, find out how to get in. Because what that allows my son to do is that every day he can go to school if he
Mhm.
wants to.
Mm.
When they jump into 22, that's when they come out of school. He don't have to be 22 and stay home,
Mm-hmm.
right? He be 22 and bam, he's in a program. And guess what? Me and my wife can still go to work,
Mm-hmm.
and we still have a life, and he's gone to a program.
Mm-hmm.
See how beautiful that is?
Right.
But who pays for that? The state of Illinois pays for that,
Mm.
right? So if we wanted him to have someone at home with him, we can do that too.
Mm.
We can take that money, because it's not our money, it's his money.
Mm-hmm.
But the program allows you and gives you enough money to take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say, okay, go to school or stay home.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he goes to a program where it's paid for
Right.
by the state.
And I just want the viewers to know. I mean, I was looking at my phone. I don't want people to think I was texting, but I was searching up what P.U.N.S stands for, and it seems P.U.N.S stands for prioritization for urgency of need for services. And again, you can probably, yeah. So go to IDHS.
IDHS. And thanks for bringing it up because
Yeah.
I say pun so much. I
Yeah.
don't think about it. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
But say what does it mean?
It's a prioritization for emergency of need for services, and you can get that through the IDHS, Illinois P.U.N.S, P.U.N.S, Division of Developmental Disabilities.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you go there,
Mm-hmm.
and as your kid grows up, you tends to wanna. I mean, your life changes, and as you get older, so they allow you to do that.
And I'm sure we can put the link in the description or somehow below, or
We'll try to do that.
contact us and personally, and we'll probably be able to make it.
I mean, any questions? Listen, I'm always willing to share on how we share on my journey, because it's a journey that me and my family is going through, but it's a journey that listen, we don't mind sharing with you, because there's a lot of people who do. They're scared to share. They're scared to talk. I know families who don't even bring their kids out.
Yeah, but, I think the politicians talk about all the time our most vulnerable citizens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so these things are there, but I think it's kind of a shame that they're kind of hiding it from you, or at least making it difficult to kind of find, or at least they're not
It's not
advertising.
publicized.
Yeah.
Because it's not. But we had to kind of like.
Do you feel that it's well funded though?
It's well funded.
Well funded.
It's well funded. It is not anything that's short. It's there every year, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah, and that hasn't been in jeopardy because of certain politicians.
No.
Okay.
I mean, because this
You would have to be a
bu-
terrible politician to kind of mess with that.
Exactly.
To mess with that,
You have to be I don't know what to say. Well, hey, we're not. We'll leave these people out. No,
Right.
because these are like the vulnerable citizens.
The vulnerable citizens.
So I just want to just kind of, it's just a journey that I wanted to share with you guys, and to say, well, and keep in mind as your kid. I mean, for some of you who don't know, as your kid gets older, and when they become, is it 18, 19,
Mm-hmm.
you have to become their guardian, and that means, going to court
Mm-hmm.
and let the court give you guardianship. So some people don't know that their kids just grow up, and they just grow up as like And after a while, you got to remember, when your kids become an adult, you will not be able to make decisions for your kid because of the fact that they're an adult.
You're right.
And if you don't have actual guardianship, you can't do anything.
You're right.
So don't forget,
Yeah, your child might end up in situations that.
they need you.
Yeah.
Your child will always need you. So
Right.
go to court, get guardianship, have that document always available that says, hey, if you got to make a decision,
Mm-hmm.
I am the, I'm the person. So, just in my general my general experience or life journey, is that you have to fight for your child, and you got to fight and fight and fight until you get all that you need. That in case when you're gone, your child is to take care of.
I have a question though. Does typically with families with autistic members, does that increase your premiums on your insurance?
No.
No. Okay, so our insurance company's pretty understanding of it.
Well,
There's no like extra charges with the insurance.
when the kids are younger, they get
Mm-hmm.
Medicaid. No, throughout their life they get Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So once they're disabled, you can carry them on your insurance if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
but they get Medicare or Medicaid.
Okay,
throughout their lives, they don't. That doesn't, It's
But
not
there,
like-
but there is an option for you to go private, and then.
Oh, if you want to, yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want
Yeah.
them to take care of it, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have that option.
Mm-hmm. And
So-
I would say, like, would you say that you have spent more on Leon because he was autistic? Do you feel like you've spent a lot more money, but like because it was necessary, because it was your child?
Well,
Do you think that, like, I guess right again for people, with the upfront costs, I guess.
well, you know what? The thing about it, my wife is always insured,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all the insurance was carried. Most of the insurance was carried by state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a private insurance, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and between those two, that gets taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, most kids with has autism, they will carry. They will. The state will cover them automatically.
Mhm.
The federal, they cover them. So,
Right.
so I don't want to say it costs us more. And then, but I think what it will cost the folks that does not get into the program, it'll cost them in not being funded properly, not taking care of their kids properly, not
Mhm.
that's what it'll cost them.
Right.
Not being able to have your kids have a better life
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't take the time to look through and look through these programs. That's sort of what it will cost.
So do
them.
you feel that like your son's development and his character and his attitude would have been different
Absolutely.
if he had not gone through the PUNS?
Absolutely. If we didn't take the time,
Mhm.
he'd have been a different kid,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we've taken the time
Mm-hmm.
to, me and my wife took the time to put him on the right track. And as far as we could have gone through the therapy, through the state, and we did what we needed to do in order to get him to a point where he's like, okay.
Well, I assume if you're working in this program, you work with their people and their doctors.
Well, yeah.
So I guess then what is your assessment, or how would you rate the service?
No,
that
you
you're
don't
getting?
have to work with this.
You don't have to?
You don't have to, no.
Okay.
As long as those doctors you have certain programs, you have
Mhm.
certain companies that work within the PUNS program, so you can choose.
Mm-hmm.
Not specifically your doctor. Of course, if you have insurance, they'll cover it. But you have a certain organization that works within, and you can pick and choose whatever you feel like. You can pick and choose whatever you can pick and choose the doctors you want to,
Mm-hmm.
right, from the organization.
Right.
So it's not like here.
But you've been working with the same doctor for.
Well, through his therapy,
Mhm.
we've changed over. Through this
Mhm.
therapy, we've gone through therapy, and then those doctors moved on. They go to another doctors, and then they moved on. And so it's
yeah.
but now, as an adult, he has his own doctor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's fine now.
Mhm.
But going through
All that.
he had many doctors and therapists and specialists who was a part of his life
Mm-hmm.
that got him through from birth to.
Yeah. But would you say these people felt like family? Would you say that they were friends?
Oh yeah. These are a different group of people.
Mm-hmm.
They're interested in what's going on.
Mhm.
They're interested in your child's life. That's their job.
Because I think that's important for people with
Yeah.
kids with disabilities. They're kind of scared of everybody else, you know what I mean? And like protecting
Well, you
their
have,
child.
when you have kids with disability, you have to have a core around you.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, Leon had a core
Mm-hmm.
of specialists and doctors who come all the time, and they know who he is, and he knows who they are.
Okay.
And we got him through a bunch of different,
Mm-hmm.
all these, these gamut of tests, this
Mhm.
battery of tests that he had to do, so he knows those people.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, it's an experience that, as we're talking about, it's a personal story today about kids with autism. So
And that testing, was that like, sorry, but was that testing like months, weeks, days?
it's all through his life.
Throughout his whole life. Okay.
Well, especially through his diagnosis until about, diagnosis through 5, it was intense.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
Yeah.
intense.
Because they
intense
were
thing.
really trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
intense. So we were constantly
Doing something.
doing something with him.
Yeah.
Going to a doctor, going to a therapist, going to a
Mhm.
neurologist. You know what I'm saying? Those were intense. So those were intense years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to school, then he has therapy at school and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And it's good to send your kids to school because they interact with other people and develop
The
more social
socialized, the
skills.
social skills, yeah.
So it was just, it's just I wanted to kind of tell the story because
Mhm.
I feel like it's important because there's so many people
Right.
who are scared to tell their story,
Mm-hmm.
who don't want to tell their story, who hide their story.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your child's life, so you want to be able to, treat your child as you would want to be treated. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Don't hide that. So important, guys. That as we wrap up, and I'm happy to share any time that you guys figure out what's right for your son or daughter, figure out what's right for them, and move into that into that process where you can help them. Okay, help them. So as my son becomes an adult, and now he's active and doing his own thing now, but the early childhood is the most important time. From when they're diagnosed to about 4, 5, 6, it's like the most crucial time to give them as much therapy as they need, and of course there's therapy right along.
Yeah, childhood is the most crucial for development. You know,
so you know, I want you to follow this program, especially share it with people. Follow us, please follow and share this with anyone who has a child with autism, who's autism. Please share it. And if it's something you guys want me to talk about, please let me know. I will do that too. But please share this podcast. This is the Mill Social Talk podcast. Please share it. Please let everyone know you got to listen to this guy who went through this process with his son. So again, this is Leroy at Mills Realty. Thank you guys for listening. And whatever you want me to share, please let us know. Leave us a comment. Get back to us. You always go to millsreal.com and send us an email. Go to our website or call us at the office, 773-764-9547. Thank you guys for listening. Until the next podcast, see you soon.
Bye.
Peace.
sees me,